And what is going on, everybody? So, welcome to the final episode of season 2 and the end of 2022. The It's Running Podcast, episode 33. Man, who would have thought?
Hey man, it's been working, bro.
Absolutely. But yeah, what's up, Chad? What's good, normal guy? But before we get into it, if you guys are new, make sure you drop the like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are coming to you live from the Hard Sports as well. Man, we got some. Okay, so we got some lots of interesting stuff to talk about. Obviously, this week there's going to be no recast this week because me and Tyler kind of, well, must be real, kind of slacked off a little bit.
I'm not saying we slacked. I'm saying Raw is not interesting.
Yeah, Raw has already been interesting. It's just we've been kind of been hit and miss on NXT at times. But yeah. So before we get into it, I mean, like I said, man, it's like I said, me and Tyler can't really appreciate the support that you guys have been showing for, especially for this show as it is. The last, well, what's it been? It's going to be 2 years at this point for almost 3 seasons. And yeah, like me and Tyler can't really be really great, can't be appreciative of just how much support you guys have been showing for the show. And but with that being said, the first thing that we kind of talked about, Matt Bloom snitching on Mandy Rose to get fired. So let's kind of I don't know what to think about that one for a hot minute.
Honestly, I really just don't. It's whatever at this point.
Yeah,
the whole situation that's going on. Not because, okay, like yeah, what Mandy did, you can make a case of saying, okay, it was not cool because of like the umbrella she was under. She was under a PG umbrella.
Yeah.
And they're trying to push family friendly content, and what she was doing wasn't exactly family friendly. So they just got rid of her because of that. But also now news has arose that they were looking to take a cut of the money, and she said no.
Yeah. And
I feel like you don't do that to somebody. I don't
really
care
should.
if I don't care if it's doing what she did. I don't care if it's Twitch. I don't care if it's YouTube. I don't care.
It's,
no one should be taking your money.
No, especially from what we've understood. They actually got a leak of how much she's going to be making this past Christmas. Man, she's going to be making more than what she was getting paid because, and that's kind of the biggest issue, right? For me, that's some of the women's stars are having issues with is how much they're getting paid. Like they're not getting paid, like say, like a Becky Lynch or a Charlotte Flair, which that kind of will tie into the next person we're going to be talking about in just a second. And that will be Sasha Banks, because we know that we found out that her contract is over, but we also can't come to find out that Sasha Banks wanted more money to be, she wants to be on the level of Charlotte and Becky. Unfortunately, she was never going to was getting paid that much. So that was the issue why she wanted out of our contract, because of that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of money issues. That's why a lot of these wrestlers, specifically female wrestlers, are doing side jobs like that. It's because of, they're not getting paid a lot of money.
Absolutely. And it's bad. First of all, like if you have a talent like Sasha Banks, which, for those not seen the last episode, we have talked about that she is going to make an appearance at Wrestle Kingdom 17 in New Japan Pro Wrestling. To be quite honest, I think, and I think she does a lot better. I mean, if she's still going to do wrestling, from what we understood, like after January 1st, she's available to do for bookings, no matter if it's on the indie scene, which is going to be very interesting to really kind of keep updates on. Just because, I mean, because you let a talent like Sasha Banks walk because of your incompetency, I would say, for lack of a better term, that you say you didn't want to pay her, even though, let's be real, she was like one of the better women's champions in WWE.
Yeah, but the problem is they just lowballed her,
Yeah, and it's
and they did try to give her a contract, but they lowballed her big time, and then she said no.
absolutely. And yeah, I mean, we wish the best for Sasha Banks, and obviously it looks she's doing pretty well for herself outside of the company, and good for her. And actually, I'm very happy for her. And that ties into her other best friend, Naomi. What's her future going to be looking like in the company? Because there's always been some speculation that she could be done and be like have her and be want to get out of her contract because
I feel like she is done. Her and Sasha are done. I feel like they tried getting them both back, but the money thing, they want too much money, and to WWE they want too much money, so they just let them walk. So
yeah, it's been like I said, it's been a rough what's it been rough handful of months for Sasha and Naomi because this
it's
all
been
set.
since I think after WrestleMania, and then after WrestleMania happened, they had that 5-pack challenge match or 6-pack challenge match they were supposed to do, and then they walked out. And then
Yeah,
after that, they weren't seen on TV or heard from for months.
yeah, and to be quite frankly, I mean, you have some other people that are close to Sasha, especially one in particular. Well, actually, this is coming from Wrestle Inc. That FTR, one of the FTR's members, Dax Harwood, obviously former of the Revival, obviously, had a lot of good things to say about her, and it's just like he also says, in quotes saying, that's my girl. We had the same tryout together in WWE. Obviously, explained the two are so close that um obviously, because they're like so close, like, so personal, or good personal friends. Even Sasha knew the gender of Harwood's actual child. It's actually, and that's just the kind of
And
relationship that they
that's
have.
and yeah, and that's the thing with Sasha. Everybody's thinking, oh, she's money hungry. She's an a hole. Like they're painting a picture that she's like the biggest jerk in wrestling.
But yeah, so and
And
then also
when in reality, she's not really like the biggest jerk.
nah, it's like, and he also goes on to say, he also goes to say, just like me, I feel like that sometimes she gets a bad rap because of how passionate she is and how much she wants. And he continues, she wants it all, but she wants to work for it. That's the same with us. Huge star, huge heart. She's a beautiful human being, the greatest women wrestler of all time. End quote from Derek Harwood. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's kind of basically Dax Harwood's kind of that's basically what Dax Harwood's kind of say, why are you giving her like say like she's like money hungry like she's you see it if you not watched like during their time in her time in NXT like you can see how much she busted her ass each and every week, not just on NXT, not just on Raw, SmackDown, but you can see just how much the work she puts in. But yet some people want to paint her as a money hungry kind of person, like Tyler said, and quite frankly it's kind of disgusting. But number two, I can understand why she wants more money because first of all, she was treated as a star, and she will never get lowballed as it is. And quite frankly, WWE fucked up. And I think it's going to be hard to really say because I know Triple H just did his damn best to get her back, but from what we understood, like she said, I want to explore my options elsewhere, and I think that's kind of where we came to the conclusion that we may never see Sasha with the company ever again at the same time, which sucks. But I mean, at some point we knew at something like this was going to happen one way or the other, but it kind of really did happen. Uh, but yeah, to be quite honest, man, it's been this. I'll say like there's really not that much to really go over. Other than we had one return in particular, Jonah kind of returned, or Bronson Reed, as most people from NXT would know. He's back with the company now, which, quite frankly, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to really explain his return.
He wasn't really over in NXT though, so I don't really see why they brought him back.
Yeah, and we've actually talked about this. Actually, talked about this last week. This is one of the biggest issues that Triple H. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I'm going to say
He's
Triple H.
trying to. This is the problem that I have with Triple H too. Is the fact that he's trying to re-sign everybody under the sun that got
And,
fired.
and it's really not going to help your roster because you have some other potential stars waiting in the wind. You're just going
to. It's becoming bloated again.
Yeah, it's bad. It's basically where we're going to how to put it, but. Yeah, Braun Strowman comes back, obviously, on the episode of Monday Night Raw during that ladder match between Dexter and Loomis. And for the love of God, I mean, the writing just has not been the greatest on Raw the last couple of weeks. And to be quite honest, this segment between The Miz and Dexter Loomis has to fucking end at some point. This has been going on for fucking more than weeks upon weeks upon weeks.
Dude, it sucks. It started off with, okay, Miz is getting scared by Dexter. And then it turned into Gargano getting involved. Then it turned into Dexter paying Miz money and ugh. And then it turned into Dexter wanting the money back, and they had like a ladder match with the money, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so stupid.
And now they're actually making the company's now making Johnny Gargano a fucking joke. Like, goddamn, like what happened? Like the company just look. I mean, I know there's people are going to say, I mean, some of it has been good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, part of it, but just everything's just been kind of topsy turvy because, what happened to like what Johnny Wrestling? Where the hell is that? That's kind of thrown out the window. His wife Candice LeRae's kind of floating around. It's.
But here's the thing: Johnny's over. Candice had no ability to get over, even in NXT. None. And if you look at like how things have gone for the women on Raw, specifically Candice and her matches, no one cares.
I mean, absolutely, yeah. I mean, our buddy Errol said it best. I mean, nobody on people who go to see the Raw shows, no one gives a fucking damn about women's wrestling over there. And that's kind of where I didn't want to really mention this. This is where I think Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon pretty much killed the women's division. It's like this. I know
the problem that I have with the women's division. I know Triple H is trying to rectify it by using more of the women. They use the same 5 women every single year.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at NXT, and you can see some of the women's division on NXT, there some of them are hugely over. No. I know some people don't really care for NXT, but you should be surprised of some of the upcoming stars that they have. Sol Ruca, a lot of people are not talking about her. She's kind of she's really over with the fans. Zoe Stark, for crying out loud. Like,
he's over. Indy's over.
Indy's over.
The Katana Chance is over.
The women's tag champs are over.
They're over.
Apparently, Wendy Chu's apparently over. She's got some reaction from the crowd, but not much. But for the
she's kind of decent amount, but not much to really care about her.
Too much to my chagrin. Please, for the love of God, repackage her before I start pulling my fucking hair out.
But yeah, like so many women are over, like in NXT. It's just like it's time to get called up.
Right, and Nikita Lyons is she's very over as well at the same time. So appreciate that for Chad. We brought up Nikita Lyons.
Nikita's over.
I mean, there's so many names to name off that were super over.
Cora Jade's over.
Yeah, I mean, look, say what you want about Cora Jade, but she is spectacular to watch. Now, even though she may not offer much for caliber, but she can beat you more ways than one. You'd be very surprised. I mean, for the love of God, another popular name has been kind of really been over. Roxanne Perez, your new NXT Women's Champion. She's over. So you have men and women that are over with the NXT crowd, but yet you still stick with the women's revolution since what? 2015, 2016?
2015.
Okay. Thank you.
You stay with the 4 horsewomen, and it's just like enough.
Like, we need fresh faces. And speaking of Earl, hang on. What's good, Earl?
Hello, everyone.
Long time. Obviously, returning guest to the show. I have not seen the earlier shows, so. And there goes my phone. And shit, I had to turn my camera off. My bad.
Dude, you're having so many blunders today.
No, my tripod won't stay still. But that's but yeah, so we kind of just okay, so kind of get all caught up. So we just talked about, I kind of went over some old news like Matt Bloom kind of snitching to get Mandy Rose fired, and that was kind of not really much to really talk about. We also talked about Sasha Banks with her contract being up. And they've come to find out that she, we've seen reports that she was not getting paid as much, like a Charlotte Flair or a Becky Lynch, and the company's kind of lowballing her. So, Earl, I want to kind of get your take on that, on the old Sasha Banks thing.
Well, I did mention this on the Raw Watch Along that New Japan didn't want to pay her appearance fee. And she called WWE and she called management and she says, well, I need to be paid for my appearance. And apparently they hung up the phone on her. This solidified everything for me that their relationship is done. It is a done deal. It's dead in the water. Everybody was clamoring for her to come back. And, like she said in a recent podcast, the problem with the WWE is that they didn't respect her wishes. And the thing is that she, there were times where she was talking about a story about Madison Square Garden doing a house show, and she was exhausted. She did, 2 shows back to back, and she didn't want to do the house show, and they forced her to. So I don't like working for people who bully me. I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feel, that you're not respecting my wishes and you're just tossing me around like an old toy. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good look, and it's not anything. And something, to be honest with you, WWE always talks 2 sides out of their butt cheeks when it comes to their statement about not being bullied and all of that, but then they bully their talent.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
You're contradicting yourself.
Like, yeah, me and Tyler actually talked about this the last couple of weeks ago. We actually talked about this. Like, this was kind of the biggest issue with the company, with WWE. They're constantly burning out their talent. Now, like, for example, we knew that Roman, I think he expressed at one point, he said he was getting burnt out, and I can see why. The fact you're almost 300 something odd days out of the damn year with a couple.
Why do you think he signed that part-time contract where he's working a few months out of the year? Because he was getting burnt out.
Like, not only that, the stress of the job
absolutely
brought back his cancer. You can't, you have to understand, this man had leukemia. It's like, come on now. How much stuff can he do?
Yeah, you're limited. Because if one thing goes wrong, like, that's, you're putting that man's life on the line, even though that's kind of what wrestlers doing. But this is a whole different situation.
But this is a whole different thing, though, because this man has cancer history.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does strenuous stuff, that cancer can come back, and it has.
And it's
it put him out of a job for X amount of months, and then he's back in a part-time contract because he doesn't want to do all this strenuous stuff to have this cancer back. And that's what people don't. And also, too, this is what fans don't understand. Because people are like, and fans are like, boo, he's on a part-time contract. He's had cancer.
Like, absolutely. It's just, and I think I mentioned this a couple times on our last show. Like, if I'm like Triple H in the company, like, if you guys have superstars burning out, like, at least light their schedule load. Like, you don't as Earl said it best, like, you don't have to.
Honestly, they need to ditch the whole working every single day except for one day out of a month, every month.
Because
they need to ditch that. They need to do what other companies are doing and just ditch the house shows. Ditch them.
Because the house shows don't mean shit. Because you can't see them on television anyways. And to be quite honest, and like Earl and Tyler said, we've seen, like, the bridge Sasha. They already burned the bridge with Sasha Banks, and we had talked about Naomi, what her future's looking like, and said, they might could potentially burn the bridge with her, and
They probably already have burnt the bridge with her.
and it's like it's gonna get to the point where it's like it's very frustrating. I would say, for lack of a better term, I can see why where some of these wrestlers are frustrated. Sasha Banks in particular, I could actually understand her frustration. Because first of all, if you had her belt her as her top star in the women's division for since 2015, and like Earl said, if you treated like crap the last what 3 years since then, or I could be wrong, whatever the case may be, you expect to actually give. And this is another thing too. Like, how are you supposed to take something like Sasha Banks seriously if you're not going to treat her the right way? That's all I'm saying. It's like even Naomi. Now, I know that Naomi does have some mixed reactions. I mean, she's pretty decent in the ring, but it's just like I don't get it. Like, I just do not get it with the company anymore. I really don't. And
I know I don't get it with them either because here's the thing. Here's the thing. You have people who are loyal soldiers. Okay, they go out there and they entertain the audience 365 days out of the week. Okay, there is no off day with WWE. There isn't. They are flying you from Des Moines, Iowa, all the way around the world, London, England, Madrid, Spain, Mexico, all of these places. Okay. After a while, it becomes apparent to people and the talent. I don't want to live my life in a suitcase anymore. This
facts.
ain't for me. This ain't for me. I'm missing my wife's birthday. I'm missing my best friend's birthday. I'm missing a graduation. I'm missing this. I'm missing that. And at some point, you have to sit back and you say to yourself, is all of this worth it? Because A, am I getting respected? B, am I getting the accolades? And C, which is the most important, are my feelings being heard? And once you surmise all of that, and once you say to yourself, I don't think so, then that's the time you put the brakes on and you say, enough.
Like, yeah, enough's enough.
Enough.
And like at this point, like Earl said too, like the fact that, like, say if you want to have personal time, yeah, can you even fucking get that on like nowadays?
No.
At best, like I said, they only get 1 day out of a month, every single month.
Even Kurt Angle said it
1 to
best.
2 days. 1 to 2 days out of a month, every single month out of the whole entire year.
And thinking of this too, at the same time, if you're dealing with a lingering injury, they should let you have the time off to fucking heal up. Like, see, if you're coming off like I don't know, like a dislocated like shoulders per se. I know that's what 6 to 8 weeks, depending on, or probably a little bit less than that. But let's just say you tore like a soft tissue or something like that, right? Like, you should should give you the time to like recover, or if you have these like actual, like, say, like drug or whatever the case may be, like you have like these personal problems, and like in the case of Sasha Banks, when she tells you, I have mental health problems because I'm constantly getting burned out left and right. Like, it's not, I'm losing my own sanity or my own, of who I'm truly am. I'm not. And if you looked at the one her appearance on the Broken Skull Sessions with Stone Cold Steve Austin, she admitted, yeah, I don't know who Mercedes is anymore. Like, she only knows the Sasha Banks. It's like, no, like I felt really terrible for her. It's like you could tell that she's lost herself. And the fact of the matter is, it's like you're like Earl said, you burned that bridge. You're kind of really just screwed with her. It's basically, for lack of a better term. But the company WWE's got to either get it right, because this ain't looking good. This ain't not looking good at all.
And it's not only that, it's not a good look. It's not a good look to be a professional wrestling company and you're not professional at all with your talent. That is not something that's good on your mission statement. Um, I'll give. I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said, Robert. And let me just give you one example. Alberto Del Rio. Alberto Del Rio was in the WWE for quite a number of years, I would say. And I remember there was an incident where he was. I don't remember the city. I don't remember where this happened, but he was in a house show. The guy tore his labrum in his shoulder. Now, when you tear a labrum in your shoulder, you tear anything in your shoulder, the pain is excruciating.
Hmm.
He goes to WWE doctors. WWE doctor says, "Oh no, you didn't tear your shoulder. You're fine. You're fine. Go to the next city the next day. Everything's gonna be fine." What happened in the match? He dislocated the shoulder.
Hmm.
He had to get extensive shoulder surgery. Why? Because WWE overglossed what he was saying.
Yeah, and that's
And
a
it
very good point.
it's just greed. You want the money from the wrestler. You want him to go in there and he's dragging his arm around, but you don't care about that.
And this is also add to that too. Remember, they say, oh, they're independent contractors, but they say, yo, oh, you got to pay for your own rental car, you got to pay for your own whole. They have to do everything out of fucking pocket. Did you know how much shit that piles up over time? Like, first of all,
Yes.
you're a $5 billion company, but yeah, you can't even fucking help your own goddamn roster for crying out loud.
Right.
Like that's my
You got to buy your own car.
you gotta get your own plane ticket. Like, what the hell is
buy the,
this?
buy the plane tickets,
Like food,
all this
hotel.
other stuff. Like, don't you have? But
What
the
up,
thing
Mac?
is, though,
Whatever.
that we used to try to accommodate, and wrestlers ruined it.
You know what? That is also true. But I mean,
So I could see why they were like, you pay for your own stuff. We're not doing that whole. We're gonna fly you guys to city anymore because a select few wrestlers ruined that. Remember, 2002 happened.
yeah, the
Uh,
plane ride from hell. So, well, we don't
yeah.
want to get into it. If you, but we would highly recommend if you watch that episode on Dark Side of the Ring. You kind of understand what we're talking about. But outside of that, to get else caught up with Errol, we saw that Bronson Reed or Jonah returns to WWE. Honestly, I didn't like it at all. It just didn't make sense to me. And me and Tyler talked about this too. He did not like this. Also sends the fact whoever brings back, no one gives a shit about it. Like, look at Emma, for example. Like we talked about, I think a couple times. She hasn't been in the company, been with the company she's been away from the company for
Dude,
5 years.
when she came back, right? The crowd was dead,
Hmm.
dead, and
Yes.
I mean you can hear a pin drop, dead. No crowd noise at all, like nothing,
No
because no one cared
reaction.
about him.
It was
None.
sad.
Because
But
Emma deserves a reaction because she's a great wrestler, great talent to have. Yet no one cares.
absolutely. But yeah, it's the same with Jonah. I mean, we took when Jonah left the company, like he actually got pretty over pretty well in time. What is it? Was Ring of Honor? No, was it Ring of Honor at one point?
No, it was Impact at one
Right.
point, and then he
Oh,
moved over to New Japan
but yeah, it's like
and got over in Japan, and then he goes to WWE and
nothing.
he's dead.
Well,
Put
it's just like what I said in all of the Raw watch-alongs. We did the 17th and final Raw watch-along this past Monday night, and we were looking at the women's division, and they had the matches in the ring, and again, I mean, you could throw a paper airplane over the audience, nobody cared. There was a guy that was in the corner. I was watching the camera angle. He was texting someone.
yeah,
He was
it's
disinterested. He was disinterested in what was he looking at in the ring. He was disinterested,
And
which is sad.
but here's the thing too. Now it's just not the women's division. You have these people like Bronson Reed coming back, and no one cares. You have who else came back and no one cared about?
I mean, I think when they brought, well, actually, that's a very good point. I can't think of one name off the top of my head that I can think of, but
But now it's
But
them. Now it's them. Now it's just that no one cares about anybody. Not
because
just the
the
women's division.
problem with Bronson Reed is here's the problem. He was brought in at the wrong time in the wrong storyline. That's the problem.
absolutely.
The storyline with this Dexter Loomis and
We
Miss
actually just talked about that. It's like at some point, this shit's got to fucking end. At some point, this has been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks.
and there's no
Just
end
end the
game
damn
to
thing.
it. There is no end game to it. I
Oh,
don't know where this is going.
I don't know
It's,
who wrote.
Me and
the whole
Jeffrey
thing-
were
the
just
whole
tearing
thing
our
with-
hair out.
The whole thing. All right. In the beginning, I was fine with it because it was just Dexter stalking Miss. Whatever. That's his character. Cool. Fine. But then they did this whole inserting Gargano into it, and then they did this whole money thing, and now it's just like this rabbit hole that you can't get out of.
It's just and I agree with you, Tyler. I mean it's just it just behooves me to just know that why would you put a segment or a storyline like this together with no end game? When you do a feud or you do a segment or whatever, it's got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you don't have those elements and you don't gravitate to the audience, they're not gonna want to drink that nasty soup.
Okay, there was one Earlisms, but
What are my Earlisms? Of many that you'll
Oh,
see tonight
I'm
on
gonna-
my telecast.
I appreciate that some like comedy, but yeah, I mean, it's a very good point. I mean, at some point, at this point, for me, the way the story, for me, I think the storyline say this got me Bruce. It's got like Bruce Pritchard written all over it. That's how it's coming off to
The
me.
one storyline, it has to be. It has to be because how do you write something that convoluted? Like it's
I can't. I can't. I just
Like,
can't.
yeah, we just. Oh, it says Bruce Pritchard has to go because I think he's pretty much just the one cancer. I feel like. I mean, if you already got rid of John Lorna, but I think Bruce Pritchard should have been being a part of that package and get his pink slip. But that's just me. And then I saw some like other things coming up, and I forgot to write this down, but we did get some positive we got some updates on the Adam Cole concussion, which is actually some pretty good news. But so Dave Meltzer, I think most of us knew how we feel about him, kind of the biggest clown in the I guess wrestling media. But Meltzer goes on to say, he's doing better. So the last thing he's heard with Adam Cole saying, they were being cautious, but they don't have a time frame. Obviously, this is coming back from the Fatal 4 match at Forbidden Door. So obviously, we still got some good news. So right now, that's just a small positive update we have on Adam Cole and his concussion. So at least we got some good news, but there's going to be some bad news, unfortunately. Randy Orton looks like he might just hang up the boots at this point because that back injury, it's not doing that man any justice.
No, they said
he had to have fusion. He had to have fusion surgery. So
yeah,
his
but
career
they're
is basically
saying it's
done.
not taking. It's not taking the way they wanted it, which is
Yeah.
not good.
And
It basically means his career's done.
And
Oh,
it's going. And for those who have seen Randy Orton throughout the last 20 years or so, and to be quite honest, I mean, look, he's done so much. Is it going to suck? He's going to retire? Absolutely, it's going to sting like a motherfucker for us, who grew up throughout the 2000s
right.
when he came in. But the positive you can take away from this is like he's done so much for the last 15 years with the company?
20 years.
20.
Holy shit. I feel like I'm getting old. God damn. But that's besides the point. Look, Randy Orton, being what I think at the time that he was our first third generation superstar, has done so much. It's just you can't really deny the fact that now you could actually make the argument: is he a first? I think at this point, I think he should be part of the WWE Hall of Fame at some point.
He's gonna be.
Because
I feel
I
like
mean,
his dad's gonna. I feel like his dad's gonna induct him.
it should be a really good send off because I mean, the dude had a really great career. Just like we said, the latest injuries he's really had has really kind of skewed things up for him. Now, granted, yes, I mean he's on the older side of things. Was he? Yeah, okay, yeah, but he's in his 40s. You know, you know. Hopefully, if he decides to retire, I mean, look, that's good for him because I mean, look, there's really not much he can do left because he's done so much. I mean, I think once you've done like so much, especially in any wrestling company for like a certain amount of time, like there's really nothing you can really do. Um, and it's just like, yeah, it's going to suck for most of us or people who've seen Randy Orton when he came in, but look, it is what it is. Like nobody can wrestle forever, and we know that the wrestling business does take its toll a lot on top of your body. We saw it with the Undertaker. Now, granted, the Undertaker was in this, throughout the, well, what me and Ty remember. Well, I was remember more of his, and it's part of his prime years. But as soon as he started gotten older, you could see that his skill set has not really been the same since like the 90s throughout the 2000s, and quite a bit of the 2010s, give or take. But wrestlers, some like our childhoods can't wrestle forever. And I think John Cena knew, like, John Cena was what, 41 for 42. I could be wrong with his age.
Yeah, he knows his career is almost done anyway because he's only wrestling limited matches. He's doing more Hollywood stuff now,
and he's really done.
And he's done a great job with the Hollywood stuff. But he's doing more of that because he knows his career is pretty much done.
And you could definitely, and you look at this, and like some of the matches he's wrestled since then, like you can tell he's been slowing down. Like he's not the same as he once was, like throughout the 2000s. Well, from what we remember in his early years, and this is same could be said for Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil is on the older things, but he's actually took on a different role as a global ambassador, which I'm really happy with him with that because I think that's a great thing, and I think if I'm because I was thinking John Cena, but I mean, John Cena's really done really good job with the Hollywood.
And I think Orton would be good as an ambassador for the WWE.
Absolutely,
I think he could join Titus O'Neil,
or have him as a training coach at the Performance Center. Because first of all, you have a guy that's been around for 20 years. I mean, you got a lot of shit you can learn. I mean,
and also look what he did for Theory. He was willing to help Theory.
I mean. Theory, for me, has been a really good United States champion because of that. And I think, it's just there's potential that I think Orton knows he sees. And thank God he's one of the guys that kind of really helped repackage, or not say repackage, but kind of help Theory become what he is now with that. But I mean, it's just like you really can't. There's probably no negative stuff you can say about Randy Orton. No, I mean, he has some of those memorable moments where he was just fucking vicious, but that's but I mean, God, when he freaking RKO'd Stephanie, God, I mean, you've talked about like the actual vicious the Viper that he truly is and kind of lived up to that. I mean, he has those memorable moments that people can remember by. I mean, quite honest, I think I think he could be a really good if you want to put him as a producer at that point, because I think he could be an interesting producer and a good training, especially if you want to help him with some guys at NXT that have a hard time getting over. I think Randy Orton could be that guy because you got other options that you can have if he decides to retire. You get a performance and for a PC trainer, could be a producer, whatever the hell case may be. Road agent, whatever. Like there's many endless possibilities, But yeah, so hopefully the best for Randy Orton at this point of his career. And it's gonna stink, but the next thing I want to kind of talk about is a little bit of part of Dynamite. You got some AEW news. Chris Jericho did kind of had some teasers, according to the Wrestle Inc., that he did tease a team up with Kenny Omega, which I think they're going to have a Canadian show at some point late, probably next year, somewhere in the new year. For according to Wrestle Inc. And he also teased the end of the JAS and the BCC rivalry. Obviously, after let's be probably the best, funniest promo segments by Ricky Starks, like the air fryer. I just could not.
He was like, "You're built like an air fryer."
Air fryer. It's like,
oh my god. And then he was like, he was gonna pull his pants down, and you could. Oh, it's just like, oh my god.
it's just like, and this is why too. I think Chris Jericho, and this is why I think Chris Jericho is going to go down as one of the greatest of all time. The dude, and Ricky Starks had a very good point with Chris Jericho. The fact that Chris Jericho's done for 3 decades, and still knows how to stay over, stay relevant, or knows how to reinvent himself. And I think nowadays, like, people don't realize, how much. I think there's not many like Chris Jericho can reinvent themselves and still stay at the top of their game. Even though I think it's crazy that Chris Jericho is actually a little bit over 50, which is beyond me. But like I said, I mean, and this another thing I didn't really write down was he also teased about, with the end, and especially with the end of GS, him kind of like stepping away from that faction and trying to find a new guy to replace him. One of that names was Ricky Starks, and obviously that kind of showed. But it's like, nah, that But Chris Jericho, like I said, he's going to go down with the greatest of all time. Do I see him with a team up with Kenny Omega at some point during a Canadian show? It could be possible. I mean, if they do have a Winnipeg show, even though, fact check on that, because, Chris Jericho does play a Canadian, built from Canada, from Winnipeg, but realistically, I mean, I definitely could see that, because I think that would be an interesting tag team between the cleaner Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. I don't know if you guys would ever actually would pay money to see that if they do decide to tag. Tyler, kind of get your thoughts on that.
I don't know, man. No, I'm gonna wait to see what happens with that. Honestly.
How about you, Earl?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Tyler. I want to sit back and look and see what happens and what develops here. What I'm kind of curious to see is what is the new AEW. Now, Tony Khan tweeted today that the new AEW is coming. What does that mean? What does that going to look
apparently
like?
That means like a new stage setup, because they did brighten up the lights, lighting.
A new production.
From what I understand, that they bought new production lights that they're going to unveil. They're going to also unveil new camera angles. They're going to unveil a lot, but he didn't say a lot about what else he's going to reveal. So I'm kind of curious to see.
I'm very curious as well.
I'm kind of curious to see what happens on January the 4th.
He did say that there's going to be like a new set for each show.
And to be
like, I think he said they're bringing theme sets for both shows.
Thank God, because I mean, look, I mean, I don't mind the original set, but a theme set will actually be something I would like to see, because we've really seen that in since the 2000s, give or take, depending on. It's been quite a while since we've seen a simple theme set, depending on what show.
Yeah, and to make it more visually appealing is what Tony Khan is saying with his new producer that he hired.
Oh yeah, Mike Manzuri.
Yes, he wants to change the whole perspective around on how we look at AEW on television and in pay-per-view. So I have a feeling that this is going to turn AEW's production value way up to the roof. Because now with the new lights, the new angles, and possibly a new set, possibly new things that is coming out of their cook pots, we could be looking at a very sharp-looking AEW.
And that's what shit with Mark Mansbury. A lot of people don't remember he was great with video packages. So we decided if you just want to put a good video package together, I think Mark Mansbury was a really great hire from AEW. Now I know AEW, and like I said, it's going to be interesting to see of what AEW is going to look like for 2023, because yeah, the production has really not been the greatest of quality, but I mean, he's been not terrible. But now the fact that they're willing to work to get better production value out of it, with new lights and everything, I'm all for it because I think with better production, I think you can draw more people into watch other than just what she had since 2019, which, quite frankly, was kind of fucking stale over time. It's not been. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think none of us can sugarcoat it because it's been the same shit since 2019. Nothing's really changed other than the fact, you had, you got some people to work with with Ring of Honor and stuff like that. But that's kind of nothing really has changed with AEW, but I'm all for it at this point. But and you would thought the one thing with the Vince McMahon shit was kind of going on. Then you got former Tough Enough woman from 2005. Maybe actually comment on this shit on the Vince McMahon stuff. It's like he was like, I don't really give a fucking shit. Like, I basically the paraphrase, like he doesn't really give a flying rat's ass about it. And and he just has shared his his I would say his hatred towards them. I mean, for good reason. I think a lot of people don't remember how good Maven truly was. And just, I think Vince McMahon really never saw that. I mean, it's just like, I think Maven had, and I could actually see why, but I think not giving a shit, I would say, I don't know. Like, I don't really know how to feel about that, but I can see why you don't really give a shit because that's number one. I think to say, it's not none of my business, which I did make sense, but the fact that everyone's kind of I would say not able to talk about it since that shit's kind of died down. Other than the fact that, well, maybe he's not ripped under a rock. That Vince McMahon trying to come back, because his like the executives and like Triple H and everybody else like, hell fucking no, stay retired, you old bitch. Damn, I'm sorry. That's like I'm not, like I said, I am not sugarcoating it because I do not want to see what Vince McMahon ruin the shit that Triple H has already got going for them. Now, as Raw has, it's like the WWE has already been terrible, but we don't need to go back to square one and do all this shit again. Like, I don't know.
I just loved how you said it, dude.
Dude, he's an old bastard. Like, bastard bitch. Like, there's no fucking worse thing to describe just how stupid Vince McMahon truly is. That's just how my sentiment is.
I love realness in podcasts. I just love it.
I mean, look, like, me and Tyler said this all the time. Like, trust me, like me and Tyler, we save what we need to get off our chest. I mean,
I listen. I love it. I mean, I tell people on my show all the time to express themselves. I mean, whatever you feel, go for it. I don't stifle anybody. So
the only time we're ever being real, and Tyler knows me better than anybody. Whenever Wendy Choo wrestles, Tyler knows me better than anybody. When how much I want to rave
every single week on her show, you never stop bringing it up.
No, because I am so pissed off. It's like, what happened to the Wendy Q character, you fucking assholes? God damn it. I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to come over and obviously earlier I pulled this, pulled the mom card. So I'm going to have to do it again. So I'm going to come over there and smack the living shit out of you. Basically, that's what that Tyler said. Like, I just had to pull. Like, I'm going to turn this car around and really beat the stew out of you. Like, I swear to God, like this is always the issue. Like, why are we not repackaging certain characters? It's like, I just want to say, I want to go over there and fucking strangle somebody and strangle them to common sense. It's like, God damn, like we've seen enough of Wendy Choo. Like, no one wants to wrestle. Number one, me and Tyler said this multiple times. Number one, no one wants to see a wrestle in a tight onesie pajamas. But number two, that would lead to a wardrobe malfunction. And number three, that's not going to look good for PG products. So what the hell's that?
But let me ask you all something. Let me ask the two of you something. I'm going to pick the two of you brain. Who thought of that gimmick? Who thought of that?
That sounds like Vince to me. I mean, ever since when Vince and Bruce took over NXT, that was their idea. Because I'm thinking to myself, like, wrestling in pajamas? What? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Then we saw the kind of outfit.
She comes out in onesie pajamas, a pillow, and iced coffee.
I was like, what the hell is this?
That match, she had a stand and deliver. Ooh, that
was bad. Thank God I did not. Thank God I'm not going back to rewatching that.
That was bad. Oh, that was real bad.
Like as a person, I think she's a good wrestler, but just not the character to sit with her.
I mean, can you imagine if you were a wrestler and they come to you and they said, "Oh, tonight, Robert, you're going to wrestle in a onesie."
Fuck no. No, it's like, give me my fucking walking papers. I'm out of here. Like, you're not paying me an amount of money. Like, you're not going to pay me over $1 million to wear a fucking onesie pajamas. Like, first of all,
You know what, Rob? You know what, Rob? Just for that, you're wrestling in a onesie pajama, and then you're gonna take a chop by Walter in the same night.
oh fuck, hell no, nah.
Or a Nori Suzuki.
Oh hell no either. I'm sorry. This is like the main thing.
And then you're gonna get put through a table.
Right.
Well, yeah, I would definitely ask my release at the same time. God, but like, and I said this too many times.
All this is happening in one night.
Nah, I'm packing my bags. I'm going elsewhere. So screw y'all. So fuck all y'all. Have a good night. But I said this many times too. I mean, look, the person behind the Wendy Chu character, I mean, she's a good looking woman. Don't get me wrong. But with one wrong move, that onesie's one size too tight. I mean, for the love of God, I mean, it's like no one wants to. Well, let's be real. It's on a PG product. No one else really want to see that, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
No, and first of all, it's a stupid idea to wrestle on the onesie pajamas. Like, bring an ice. God, I mean, every time she brings out a pillow and blanket, it reminds me of that damn Stone Cold segment. It's like boring. I guys remember that segment? That's just how it is,
dude. She comes out with a pillow and iced coffee. She
with a
she
sleep mask. It's like
she goes on the top. She goes on the top rope. She puts the pillow on the rope and she just lays there.
I was like, what the hell is this? Like, what happened to Wendy Q? Or like, what happened? But then again, it's Vince. This is Vince and Bruce Pritchard we're talking about. They kind of know how to ruin everything. And
but you know something, I just don't get the gimmick.
That's what I'm saying. Like, me, I don't get it.
It doesn't resonate with me. Like, what are you trying to convey here to the audience? You know, that's one thing about wrestlers and gimmicks. It's got to make sense.
It really does.
If it doesn't make sense, how is it going to resonate with the audience?
Like, in particular, like the last couple of weeks for NXT, like me and Tyler, like if you have not watched NXT UK, Lyra Valkyria, if you never have watched her wrestle, she's got a gimmick that actually makes actual sense, and she can back it up in the ring. And let's be probably one of the coolest entrances you could ever see.
Dude, I marked out to the entrance. I'm like, oh my god,
I mean,
so cool.
But I mean, and you got some really good factions over there in NXT. Well, I mean, I'm really, like I said, when we first met Schism for the first time, when me for Tyler first did NXT, at the point, it's like I didn't know who Joe Gacy was. I'd never really seen Joe Gacy wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know that. I didn't know any of the guys until over time, you know, it started to kind of grow on me. And then we come see Ava Raine. Oh, good God, that's just she better stay out of my nightmares. I have not seen that create. I'm sorry, but like me, Tyler said this too. Her smile is just fucking creepy as hell. I'll just leave it at that.
When she broke the fourth wall and looked at the camera, I freaked out.
Yeah, like
that one segment. She broke the fourth wall and looked at the camera.
So do you think she's more creepy than Abaddon?
No.
Nah. But what? Yeah, speaking of Abaddon, where the fuck she's been?
She's stuck on Dark.
She broke her collarbone in a independent show.
God. Well, that's one thing you don't want to do.
But prior to her injury, she's been stuck on Dark.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
And she's been there since 2019.
And it's crazy too. And because actually, when we did SmackDown this past week, when Uncle Howdy made his return, because me and Tyler actually talked about this. Like, this is like Uncle Howdy's kind of short. Who else?
And also I picked up on something. Look at the lyrics to his theme song.
Mm-hmm.
And go to the chorus, the beginning part of the chorus. And tell me Uncle Howdy is not Bo Dallas.
And
you're lying to yourself.
And also, someone actually put out the earring that Bo Dallas used when he wore with the B team gimmick. You could see that it was
Yeah.
it was a little bit fake, but you can actually see that. And not the Bo Leave kind of voice, but you can actually hear now what Bo Dallas actually sounds like. And we thought, because originally Tyler actually thought the Y6 was like all in his head. We thought Uncle Howdy could have been Bray. But no,
Right.
it looks like we could actually get an actual faction called the White Six. And
Yeah.
obviously, and it was start off Friday Night SmackDown too. It's just like that was great too for Bray at the same time. And that's crazy too. Just what could Brody Lee, what could have been his 43rd birthday, and the fact that he just did that to start off. Or no, wait, that wasn't really the first. No, that was the first segment on SmackDown this past week.
Yeah, because remember, LA Knight came out and he was talking crap and he was like calling out Bray, I think, and then Bray comes out.
But I think overall, and we got a little couple more other things too. Now let me ask you guys: does everybody remember the Raka Khan from TNA Impact from 2005 2006?
Who?
Raka Khan, or basically the manager for Awesome Kong when she was still in what was known as still.
I have no idea who that is.
You don't know who Awesome Kong is?
Yeah, she was.
No, her manager. I know Awesome
Khan.
Kong is for her manager.
Oh. But yeah, her manager had, and obviously this is kind of a little bit some news at the time when I put this down. She has a couple of arrest warrants out for her at the same time, which I don't know exactly what for.
Lord.
Yeah, it's been not great for the say the least, but man, it's just like I really want to know what Awesome, or I don't know exactly what Awesome Kong's doing up to nowadays.
She's retired. She's living that retired life,
and it's just like, I mean, it's just like she was actually pretty fun, but just the fact that she squashed Michael Cole. Let's be real, that was just kind of great because I think it's still at the time where Michael
Cole was a heel at that time too. She was a babyface, and she squashed him like a bug. I enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah, and actually, to be quite honest, I mean, we had some really good memories over the years. I mean, for me, when it comes to we know about the CM Punk pipe bomb, but a lot of people are not giving the Joey Styles pipe bomb too much love. If you really be thinking, to be quite honest.
And honestly, it feels real.
Because he spoke the truth.
Like, dude, I can't say the word wrestler, but I got to say sports entertainer.
Or like, I'm not so storyteller. It's like, yikes.
That's real. You can't tell me that promo wasn't half real.
Oh, my God. I mean, this dude was spitting like, what? He actually...
Everything he was saying was factual.
I mean, like, the fact that like, like these people hold that crowd in that ring for over 300 something odd days out of the year. I was like, oh my God. Like, I really looked at it and say, wow. I mean, man, the crowd I've never seen a crowd so hyped for a pipe bomb promo outside, quite some time, if you really think about it. I mean, I've never really seen. Well, I mean, look, Joey Styles, whether you like him or not, I think he's probably one of the greatest commentators of all time. Just how enthusiastic I think he's second best because I think no one's going to outbeat JR. I'm sorry, you can't tell me otherwise that no one's outbeating JR as the greatest commentator of all time. Even JR's promo on that, it's like, I'm the greatest, or I don't know exactly what he said, but I mean, just like I've never seen someone like JR actually go off on a promo, which is kind of rare for me. When I looked at it, it's like,
dude, go back to 2003. I think it was an episode of Raw. Eric Bischoff did something that set JR off, and he just looked right at the camera and started taking Eric Bischoff
exactly. No, I saw
out verbally. I'm like, dang.
But yeah, I know exactly what the moment you're actually talking about. But we'll go on a little bit further from that. But the last thing I want to kind of talk about, Maki Ito says she want to accept an offer from the WWE. Now, for those who don't,
Maki Ito?
Yeah.
A person with a gimmick that's not exactly kid friendly? Do you not hear the mouth on her every week?
Like when I read the title, it's like that's kind of
Wait,
contradictory.
is she the one that? Wait a minute. Is she the one that comes out with the microphone?
And sings and curses a lot? Yes.
Yeah,
I didn't know she curses. I
Yeah, a
always
lot of
Well,
people-
she drops F-bombs left and right.
like you talk about swearing like a sailor, man. She
and
can do.
also her taunt to the crowd is flipping them off. Doesn't matter if
Also-
she's face or heel. She flips them off.
And it's
I
like
don't think she's gonna work in WWE.
when I looked
No,
at it,
no.
like
she
that's
won't be working with that gimmick because they would water that down.
Oh.
They would.
and I think
They would PG her, and it would not be good.
no, and they pretty much would ruin her. I think it could be same. I think you could definitely make the same argument with MJF if you decide to jump ship to the company.
But MJF doesn't have a gimmick to where it would feel watered down.
I mean, the only thing, yeah, true, but
They would
he's got
tone down the heel work a little bit, but his gimmick would work.
but yeah, it's just
But Maki Ito.
whew.
Oof,
When I
there's
looked
no
at
way
the,
that's
when I
working.
read that, when I
No
read
way
that,
that's working.
read that article, it's like
There's no way that she'd be
there's
able to work.
there's no way because like first of all, this when it says the title says she was not going to accept an offer. First of all, I mean, she's a good wrestler. Don't get me wrong. I think she's a great superstar, but just with all the things like the characters surrounding Maki Ito, like, do you really expect to get any attention? I mean, at all from
And I hate to say this, and I hate saying this, but when it comes to Japanese wrestlers in the WWE, they kind of make a joke out of them.
that is true.
And that is something you shouldn't do because that's kind of discriminatory.
That's a good point. I mean, we saw what they're doing to Akira Tozawa. A lot of people remember what happened to Funaki at that one point. Like they made
Look at
when they
Asuka.
did that. What they did in 2008 was so racist.
And look at what they're doing with Asuka.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
But really, what they're doing with Asuka makes sense, though, because they're trying to put her back into that Kana character that she used to do.
Yeah.
I don't mind the Kana character, but I mean, before they made her sound like an 8-year-old. They made her do all these things, and you knew when she was talking in Japanese. Nobody in the audience knew what she was talking about.
Yeah, like no one can actually understand Japanese. That's the
I
problem.
mean, it's like no one speaks Japanese, and if you don't speak Japanese, how are you going to know what she's saying in the ring? How do you know?
That's
Absolutely. And
why when these companies like New Japan, they cater to the American market too by giving you subtitles. If you're gonna have her speak Japanese, give us subtitles.
but I don't think no one's ever actually picked up to this. This was actually earlier at 3. This was when this article was put out. I don't know if anybody's ever picked up that Chelsea Green's kind of been teasing a return to the company. I don't know if anybody's ever
Not doing the same crap Mandy Rose is doing.
actually surprisingly. There actually was some. She actually shut that down. She actually shut OnlyFans down at the same time.
She shut it
So,
down.
She did it on her own, from according to some of the reports.
Okay, that's good because she's been posting a lot like racy stuff, trying to promote it on her Instagram.
But
They have her
knowing
and
that,
Matt Cardona on there.
yeah, and I don't know how this is true. And I've been seeing what the Royal Rumble card was looking like. It's like, the entrance is like one of them was Hornswoggle. I was like, first of all, I don't think even Hornswoggle is even coming back. I didn't even hear no reports or anything teased about that.
No, that's a fake card. That's fake. I don't believe for 1 second that's the real card because they wouldn't reveal it like that. No company
So this
or
is
actually no fan would reveal anything like that because they have no authority to.
But yeah, the article is going to say, on Twitter, Green dropped another teaser when she posted a picture from her main roster debut against Charlotte Flair on WWE Raw. This was the only sign at her hinting return to her former promotion. Obviously, this past week, Green shuttered her OnlyFans account, possibly in preparation for her WWE return. So like I said, she did it on her own free will to get ready. Because let's be real, I think if you stick her back in NXT, I think she could thrive in NXT. I really do think she can thrive.
No,
No?
absolutely not. Don't put her in NXT.
I mean, do you really want? I don't know, but I say, or
You want to
explore
know
her.
why? Because she was already on the main roster when she got fired.
True, that is actually true. It's just, I mean, especially with what she's done in the independent scene, at the same time, which I think she was. Let's see, but yeah, I mean,
Now, with her posting pictures of her match with Charlotte Flair, Matt Cardona is doing the same thing.
yeah,
Because he was posting pictures of his run. And then he
yeah,
posted a video of the Royal Rumble, teasing a Royal Rumble return.
But you know something? Let me just say something here with this Royal Rumble. I don't want this Royal Rumble to be like the last one,
I freaking hope not.
where the roster, half of the men and the women were released. I don't want to see that. I want to see a surprise. See, I grew up on the Royal Rumble, and the Royal Rumble to me is full of intrigue and in surprise. And that's what I grew up on, and that's what I want to see this year. I don't want to see nobody from WWE leak anything. I want to see who's going into this Rumble. I want to get a shock. I want to get a surprise. I want to get my jaw dropped. I want to see
I mean,
what
But
you're going to do.
the problem with that is just navigating, today's society and
yeah, you gotta
the
be treading. You gotta
internet.
be. You're pretty much you're treading on thin ice at that point because we've seen a couple times, I think, in the past, like where somebody actually leaked a few things and it just ruined it for everybody at that point. I think of one. I wasn't really sure about that, but I mean,
Because Vince ruined the Royal Rumble, the last one. He ruined it. He released half of the women that were going into the Rumble. Why did you do that? Like, why would you want to release that?
and he has some returns are just like the one time only bullshit. Like it's like, what was the point of
Yeah,
that?
I didn't get why Vince had the social media department release like the news of like half of the women being in the Rumble.
That's just like literally
I didn't
like,
get that at all. I'm like that just killed that anything. That killed it.
Yeah, because it ruined it for me. I was not happy about it.
but
And then
you know,
and then what really set me off for last year was that they literally revealed that Mickey James is going to be in the match before it even happened. Let that be a surprise.
Right.
yeah, I mean, me and Tar actually talked about that, and we actually put out a video because of that at
Like
one
let
point.
that be a surprise.
Like,
Well, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. I mean, you gotta make something. You gotta keep things to the vest. You gotta.
absolutely.
I mean, you got. I mean, don't reveal anything. Keep your mouth shut.
But there's some other things I want to kind of talk about. Grayson Waller. Now, me and Tyler know how much we are kind of getting very high on Grayson Waller as being one of a douchey Aussie, for lack of a better term, and just that's just how his character's coming off. And Tyler, and he actually decides, he wants to match with Cody Rhodes. Now I'm interested. It's just like when I read that, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna be a good match. I know how Grayson.
It might be. It might be.
It's just
But we really haven't seen them two in the ring together
that is
like
true.
at all. So
And
it could be a good matchup, but the problem is he ready? I don't think he's ready yet.
yeah, that's the
But
biggest question. Is he really ready to make that jump? I mean, this is also coming to the fact that he's also challenging Braun Breaker for the NXT title after winning the Irish Survivor. And how about, I'll give Waller a lot of credit. How about Shout, get some WCW referencing.
yeah, the whole the vest metal plate thing.
Yeah, it's just like,
Because remember back in I think it was what 98.
I think maybe 98, I think it was.
Where Goldberg tried to spear Brett and knocked himself out because Brett was wearing
Yeah,
a plate.
yeah. And it's like, you know, I mean, it's been, but let's actually, I saw one article actually. This is actually from like, oh, thank you. Yeah, it was 90 Starcade 97. That's thank you,
Oh, it was
Damien.
97. All right.
Damien,
Yeah,
thank
Yeah,
you.
because Bret Hart got speared, and then Goldberg got knocked out because he was wearing a plate the entire time.
yeah. So obviously, there was one article that I don't know if to say caught my eye, but it kind of raised an eyebrow that's titled "Drew Gulak spotted hanging out with AEW stars." I really think that's like because when I
Who
think
cares?
exactly like no one like first of all like
You have wrestlers are buddies with wrestlers from different companies. They're allowed that to happen.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened with MJF and Lana. They were spotted backstage at SmackDown 4 months ago. You just never
But
know who
Lana,
you know.
But Lana was already out of the company.
yeah.
Yeah, I know, and I hope that they don't rehire Lana because that would be a huge monumental mistake.
I think
Um, a valet is good, but not an in-ring performer. No.
but yeah, it's just like
Unless she does some extensive training and actually gets better. No.
that's kind of from what we've been hearing and what we've been seeing out of from what or CJ Perry, which is her real name, behind the Lana character, and
I think she's now trying to do like movies and stuff now.
Good.
I look more power to her. I mean,
Movies. She's trying to do movies. She's trying to model. And
I
that's
mean,
it.
shit. That's good money that she can make right then and there. Like that's like more power to her. And there's some, like even the wrestling business too. We've seen some wrestlers that can be really good move. Well, that have a talent for being Hollywood. Well, one in particular, we all know that's The Rock, just because of just the kind of character he has put on for over 25 years. But I think John Cena's had. I think from what I've never got a chance to see some of his latest movies, but him as Peacemaker was probably the greatest series you could ever watch on HBO Max. Because me and Tyler highly recommend you do that. I thought he was actually really good as Peacemaker, and I thought in the reboot of Suicide Squad, it's really done well. And there's some that's well, some just don't really pan out. God, one in particular. God, who else kind of thing? I mean, you remember Andre? I mean, the Princess Bride. I mean, you had the Andre the Giant at the one point. But
Stone Cold did a lot of like B movies for a while.
I mean, God, him and the Longest Yard was pretty great. Like that's how a white man runs a football. I was like, damn.
No, the funniest wrestler in that movie was Kevin Nash. Every 2 seconds, this man's crying. Like, what?
But I mean, outside of that, I mean, the wrestling business has, like I said, it's been tough. I mean, we've seen, our childhood wrestlers actually, we know, like, especially when we talked about Edge, he said he was already hands in retirement. We only knew that he was on the, like, he just was not, his run's not going to last as long.
Yeah, we knew it was going to last maybe a couple of years and he was done. He was like, he's pushing 50.
Yeah, which is fucking crazy.
I think he's 46.
But yeah, it's just like, there's some guys, I mean, there's some that still can go at certain ages. I mean, well, I want to say one in particular. I mean, Trish, well, I mean, like you said, Trish can still go at it, but like me and Tyler said, she's doing these, I would say, not say cringy Hallmark movies in Toronto. Where
it's basically, they're basically cringy Hallmark movies that she does now. She also is a judge on Canada's Got Talent.
I mean, she's doing pretty well for herself
she's done a really good job for herself.
I mean, we just seen some very successes outside the company. Like I said, man, with Cena, like we said, Cena knew his time was up. And yes, Cena had dealt with some major injuries over the years. I mean, God, does anyone remember when he tore his pectoral muscle at one point?
I mean, tore that sucker off the bone and finished a match.
Yeah. And he came back, number 6 months later?
Hello.
What's good,
Steve? I remember when he had I remember when he had an injury and he had surgery, and then at like 3 months after he had surgery, he was already back.
I'm thinking to myself, man, this has got to be fucking superhuman in the way that his
Like, what
body's
is he? Blood of titanium or something? Like, what? 3 months?
I mean, though, I'll give Cody Rhodes a lot of credit too. If anybody's not watched the Hell in a Cell with him and Seth Rollins, probably one of the greatest Hell in a Cell matches I've ever
Bro.
seen.
Right. Especially
How
when he
did
took
he
that
do
jacket
that with-
off and he had all that black and blue
I was like,
from
How
the
did he
injury.
do that with that? How did he do that?
Like,
With so
that
much
just-
pain.
He
Like-
said it was so painful to whip him from the ropes in the cage.
Well, there-
It was like he was gritting his teeth because he said it was very difficult for him to perform in that match. And I said to myself, how did you do that? How
Like,
did you do
we're thinking
that?
of the same things. So like, I mean, it's just like it made me like when I did that watch party, like that made me like I actually grabbed my pet. Like it makes you cringe. It's just like just how much pain that dude is. Like people say, oh, that shit's fake. Yeah. You think of talk about fake, and this is another thing too, which I kind of sometimes I hate the wrestling community at times. So like first of all, like injuries can happen in the wrestling business, whether you believe it or not. I mean, shit. Like I said, Cody Rhodes, torn pectoral muscle, man. If you talk about clean, that shit clean off the bone, that's a huge indicator that shit was off the bone. And we've actually heard reports that he tore
And
once.
if he's gritting his teeth,
Woo! Nah.
It's basically he's hitting his skin off the cage on bone.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what he said in the article that I read, and he was like, even to try to scoop him up and body slam him was even more difficult, because it was like a zipper of pain. It's like you being zipped up and then you're zipping down and you zip. Yeah. So
Ouch.
I mean,
I mean,
I
it's
just got chills with you explaining the pain tolerance.
and tired to answer your
Good
question.
Lord.
Edge is 40. Edge is 49. Holy crap.
Yeah, he's pushing 50.
Yeah, you can definitely see his age, and it sucks too. I mean, look, the dude's already in the Hall of Fame. I mean, the dude's are pretty much done so much. Like, there's guys. I mean, that at old ages can still go at it, but not for as long as he used to.
And that's why he hasn't won a title in his latest run, because he doesn't have to win one.
And he said it himself. It's like, that's not kind of my end game. Was just try to finish. I think finish what he started, because I feel like after that neck injury kind of cost him a tremendous amount of time because of that in 2011, because of that. And
it costed him a whole decade.
Yeah.
And I can see why he wants to finish. He wants to finish on his own terms, which I'm very understanding of that. And now we find out the reason why. If he does, like say if he does, they haven't won a world title. Look, great, that's great. But in the end, the dude has done so much. Now, granted, yes, because of that neck injury, which we have seen, some superstars actually come back from for a certain amount of time. Some dudes just kept out of the ring for years. Like we said, Edge kept him out for almost over 10 years. Paige, look at Paige. When she came back from that neck injury,
5 years. 5 years.
5 years. I mean, neck injuries are no fucking joke. I mean, Bryan Danielson, another perfect example, dealt with a career-ending neck injury.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not. Like I said, I mean, it's the kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, that shit's fucking real. Like I've seen people. I mean, look at Bush. The Butch is breaking fingers left and right. You can tell that.
Let me just say something. Not to cut you off, Rob, but let me just say something. Let me just say something. First of all, when you see somebody always making comments about how wrestling is and how fake it is and everything like that. First of all, they're not really a real wrestling fan. That's A. B, they've never been in the ring. So you really cannot speak on it unless you relive the whole thing.
True. Or
the problem that I have with that is that they want to put down wrestling fans for watching something that's fake when they watch
we know it's
fake shows all the time.
But we don't use the F word anymore in our vernacular
your vocabulary.
Dictionary. We don't use that anymore. We use entertainment, and that is what wrestling is. It's entertainment. It is an escape. That is what
Absolutely.
wrestling is from the rat race world that we live in. It's an
Ain't
escape.
ain't that the
It's,
truth?
it's just like baseball. It's just like basketball. It's just
It's
like
just sports in
football.
general.
Sports in general. It is an escape.
Now, like as we get older, yes, we know it's fake. Like shit's always predetermined. We have
Like, we know it
we
ain't.
know
Like,
that.
we know most of the moves aren't real. We know they're not really punching. We know they're not really kicking.
now there does accidents happen? Absolutely. I mean, perfect.
It's not ballet.
I mean, yeah, that is true, Sleeping Angels. Yeah, this shit's scripted, but when something goes wrong, we have seen some botches that are just funny. Well, one in particular,
Ronda Rousey.
well, that too, and how about
Oh my god, I know you're going with Rob.
Yeah, exactly. Know where I'm going with this. Top Dollar.
Why did that even have to happen? He didn't have to do that spot.
No. And the commentary say, "Well, he did not have to." And the commentary was just fucking.
Why would you even try to jump over the top rope? You're a big guy. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And this is another thing too, and this is actually where I do have my gripes with Hit. And I think Earl made a comment on Hit Row. Like, first of all, what are they like? You can tell they don't get shit, to be quite honest. And you thought like we know that Swerve Strickland and I don't know if you've seen Dynamite this past week. We saw Parker Boudreaux actually made it make it. What does he make?
What is with a rapper being a heel manager right now?
Yeah, when I looked at it, I say, what the fuck is this?
Now, Rick Ross is a manager. Like, what?
I mean, I could don't mind the faction, but really, but I mean, look, I like Swerve Strickland, and this is what goes back to what Earl said. I think when we did the Monday Watch on, not this one, but the past week. Hit Row has not been the same since without Swerve Strickland. Let's call it for what it is, because Swerve Strickland pretty much carry Hit Row. BFAB ain't shit. Top Dollar ain't shit. Well, unless you're a football fan, but that's besides the point. But that's which I didn't know that too. He was a football player, so that's something I kind of didn't know. But that's besides the point. But it's just like there's some, like I said, this also turns to go back to what we said about the returns, and like I said, Mandy. Emma did get a good they had nothing. Hit Row, nothing. Like, it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Because you have other tag teams like the Blood. Well, we know the Bloodline's already over. You have LDF, Legado de Fantasma. Please, if you have not watched these guys wrestle, I highly recommend you do so, because I'm really digging this group. They're really another team. It's great. Now, like Earl said, the only thing that's out of place is Zelina Vega. That's right. I could not agree more with that, because Selena just looks so out of fucking place with this group. Because I really don't see having a female member with this group, in my honest opinion. Because I know I don't want to come off saying.
Here's the thing. They do need I do think that the whole female dynamic in the group does fit, but it was with Elektra.
Elektra Lopez.
Right.
Not with Zelina Vega.
Go back to what I said. Zelina Vega just felt out of place, but it is what it is. I mean, we'll see what happens in the coming new year.
So,
but yeah, that's going to do it for this episode 33 of our last final episode of season 2.
Earl had something to say. I think Earl had
let's see what.
Yes, I do have a special announcement that I want to.
Hey, go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
The third week, not the third week, but the second week in January, we're going to have a very special taping of the Wrestling Experience. It will happen on Tuesday night, and on that night, we are going to have the Raw Roundtable. Now, what this is, ladies and gentlemen, is that we are going to discuss, because Raw is turning 30 next year. We're going to discuss Raw in its entirety. What do we think of Raw? What kind of matches we're going to be looking for in 2023? What is your favorite Raw match? So I'm getting the panel together, but I have a special announcement. I am inviting the two of you to become my panel.
I'm
down.
And we're going to have a lot of fun.
And the NXT thing kind of flopped, so we'll probably be on there.
Absolutely.
Yes, my door is open to the both of you.
All
So
right.
I hope that you can do the table, and we're going to have fun doing it.
Absolutely.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is my final wrestling experience show of 2022. I hope you'll tune in for that. It'll
Please
begin at
do.
8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And my guest tonight will be Top Rope Squishy, Christina the Diva, and making his debut on the Wrestling Experience, Tantalizing Tony will be available for you here tonight on the Wrestling
Absolutely.
Experience. Now, I'm off going to do another podcast. I got to do Maddie Anderson. I'm a little late, but I will pop in to her streams and say hello to Maddie. But guys, I had a great time. Thank you so much for
Hey, no
inviting
problem.
me.
No problem, brother.
And you guys are killing it on the Hardcore Sports Network. And I wish you all the most best in the new year. And of
Oh,
course,
trust me, we got a
Merry
lot of stuff
Christmas to the
planned.
both of you.
Merry
Absolutely.
Christmas to you, brother.
Absolutely too, Earl, man. I mean, what a better way to end off this episode, and especially off of your show too. Please check out the Hardcore Spurks link down is in the description, and please check out Earl Cole as well. Make sure you hit that red subscribe button over there because the dude just has the aim. Just has really some of the best content, and we have a lot of best in the business when it comes to the wrestling content. Me, Tyler, Earl, DJ Storms. Well, depending on how you feel about him. I mean, the dude's just fucking entertaining as hell. But that's
I watch his stuff all the time. He's like super entertaining. He's like so charismatic.
that's a slight, but
Yes, and you can watch my show each and
absolutely.
any time that you like, any place, anytime, anywhere. All you got to do is just log on to my YouTube channel and subscribe and hit that like button. It's
Absolutely.
very important. Thank you.
Absolutely, because I mean, with the new year coming around the corner, yeah, because most of us are going to have, or this is the last, or like Earl said, make sure you check his show out. Please hit that subscribe button to his channel because the dude's just been kind of working hard, but it's just like he's just one of the coolest guys we've actually kind of worked with this past year, and no, it's going to be fun going forward. I'm excited for the Raw Roundtable, and definitely, you also say you also had a WrestleMania Roundtable coming up as well.
Yes, yes, and then in the new year, there's a lot of things going to be happening
That's
on
going to
my
be fucking
show.
fun.
We're going to have the WrestleMania Roundtable, ladies and gentlemen, as we head to WrestleMania 40. Yeah, we're gonna discuss.
I thought it was 39. This
39. Excuse me.
I got
we're
you.
heading to
39.
39.
40 will be in
next
Philly,
year.
too.
But
Yep.
as we do this roundtable, we're going to discuss WrestleMania as a whole, where it has evolved, what's your favorite WrestleMania matches. Yes, the roundtable is going to be real exciting.
Ooh.
I cannot
Before you
wait
go
for
any
that.
further, this is an interesting idea. The Royal Rumble Roundtable.
We should do roundtables for like the big four.
Yeah, the
Honestly.
big four. Like I really didn't think about it. So, like you said, you got the WrestleMania. Why not have Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and what's the other one? Oh God, SummerSlam. Thank you. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Now that I think about it. So shout out to Sleeping Angels for that idea.
Yeah.
But with that being said, appreciate it joining Earl. Make sure you check out everybody on the Hardcore Sports Network in the description down below. Check out our Twitch as well. And at the same time, make sure you hit the red subscribe button over here. Make sure you elbow drop that like button at the same time. Because, I mean, it's been a really good show. So surprisingly, actually, our show has kind of been really much better in terms of quality. Because let's be real, we haven't really been going. Because like I said, we could really be very grateful for the amount of support for the show.
Yeah, man.
Just in terms
especially not just this show, but this channel.
Absolutely.
But that's who would have thought we would get over 900 subscribers?
We're at 936 right now, so shout out to all of y'all at the same time. But it's like, wrestling as a whole. But yeah, but with that being said, we're gonna hop out of here. Errol's got his show at 8:30. Please tune in, show our guys support as well, and definitely show later tonight at 8:00 too. Show DJ Storm some love too. He's gonna be live as well for the with the hell, and he's got some good stuff coming up for the Royal. I think the Royal Rumble. Well, I'm thinking of a different paper. I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit in the terms of the pay-per-views. I keep forgetting Royal Rumble's in January. Ugh. But sorry about that, because I'm constantly just, my brain's kind of a bit fried at the moment, but so my apologies for that.
Brother.
But with that being said, make sure you hit the red subscribe button on Earl's channel. Check it out here as well. With that being said, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.